Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
With a nasty temperament. Ice, well, his watch is working as well as ours.
Got your attention?
Damn!
I was going to say it for you, Papa. Hey, everybody. Welcome to night two of WrestleMania reactions. This is it was a great WrestleMania. Really, really good one. One I've enjoyed for a while. But we got a bunch of people coming in to talk on the panel. Papa, why don't you just go ahead and bring them on in?
Why, man? Yeah, because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
Dun, 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 dun,
You know, this whole time I thought we were live.
You know we were live already.
I didn't know. I'm on my dumb phone, man. Listen to all that stuff. I'm not paying attention. I'm just looking at Cody's talking now. So,
All right.
My tiny little nipples went to France.
tell me about that.
Biggie.
What's up, y'all? Hey, I'm gonna be real quick tonight. I'm gonna wait for everybody to get in here and tell my 2 cents. I'm gonna get to bed, but thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too, man. I'm tired.
And then we'll hit up Izzy.
Great. One question. Are you nursing? Yeah, I guess.
K-pop, what an entrance.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Okay, so let's just go with Bleeker's not there. The Invisible Man.
Mystery
Man. Okay. So we're going to go with immediate reactions of WrestleMania. Biggie, go.
Thank you. So I'm gonna be real quick. Like I said, the second night was tenfold better than the first night. The run-ins in the main event saved the match. It would have been a snoozer without the run-ins, I think, because we've seen them wrestle so many times. And definitely a great ending. I wanted Cody to win. Taker was cool. Cena was fun. It was just like a bloodbath until Cena got there. So once Cena came, I think that was the biggest pop. And he didn't break any of Hogan's records. So peace out, fuckers. See y'all later.
Of course, he said Hogan. Of course.
Yeah, it was Team Hogan the entire time.
Had to. All right, Izzy, you're up, bro.
From beginning to end, this was one of the most fun WrestleManias. Some matches were okay. You know, Seth and Drew was great. Even towards the end, the Damien cash-in was awesome, especially from my Boricua boys, you know what I'm saying? So that was cool. I really did like the Logan Paul RKO Kevin Owens match because at first it was just fun. You know, and I knew Logan was gonna walk away, champ. That was pretty obvious. Bayley's match was good, and of course, man, just like Biggie said, man, that world title match. At first, I'm like, why are they having a wrestling match if this is Bloodline rules? Give me Bloodline rules, and if you're gonna call it Bloodline, give me some blood. Just saying,
Tiny bit.
Blood. And Rock never finished what he promised. He could have given us a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mama should have come up to Rock and slapped the Rock, and that was what we wanted to see. So, little misfires there, but the run-ins by John Cena, the run-in, the Undertaker pop. I wish it would have been Austin because of their history. But you know what? I'll take it. And now we know Roman's going to be gone. Bye-bye, Bloodline.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now we're going to possibly see the up-and-come. We'll get to that later. K-pop, what are your initial reactions?
Not bad. There were some other ones that were funner in the past, like the 90s and 80s and stuff, but I didn't mind it. It was fun. Probably I had more fun because we watched it with a bunch of people, so I enjoyed it. I liked some of the matches from the first night better than the second night. I did, however, love me when the Undertaker came out. That's my boy. I love the Undertaker. I like the CM Punk Priest slash Hey Tate.
Hey, Tate.
Match. That's pretty good. I like that one. I was a little let down on the ladies match, even though I liked
Really?
Sky a bit. Yes.
But that match by itself was like the build up was weak from the get go. So
Yeah. But I like the ladies match from day one better. Even the 6-person match, I liked a little bit better. I love Asuka. Yeah, I love Asuka, and I like the Storm chick. She's pretty dude.
Asuka dancing to the song was so good because she was like, I don't care, I like that song. She's like, I like that song.
Yeah, the hair whip by oh crap, what's her name?
Bianca.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was nuts. All right, Bleeker.
Yeah. Has anybody heard that Jacob Fatu has supposedly been signed with WWE?
I bet you'll see him tomorrow.
Yeah, but interesting that bloodline is going to go away. I don't think it's going to go away anytime
I think
soon.
bloodline's going to be altered.
Yes, big time. What I have learned is that I can run straight into somebody's foot full force 500 times, not get knocked out ever, which is a really good thing to learn. So I'm glad I learned that. Everybody's doing the fucking Shawn Michaels fucking finisher, and nobody fucking gets knocked out ever. It's amazing. I thought it was good. I enjoyed the Ripley match. I enjoyed the main event of the first day a lot. I enjoyed most of the matches tonight. There's a couple of letdowns, but all in all, not bad. It was pretty fun. It was nice to see Undertaker. I would have preferred, again, I would have preferred Austin as well, but Undertaker's pretty awesome, so we'll take it.
Yeah, there was a minute in that match where like you kind of heard it sounded like the opening for Stone Cold's song when the Rock turned around because he got distracted because he think he might have thought that was it, and that's when Seth came out. So I think they punked him by doing that.
Woohoo! We have a visitor.
What the fuck? Must be CJ.
Comic Journey. What's up, man?
Not only do you start without me, not only do you like not put me in immediately, then you stick the middle finger at me. The fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the real question. So, what are your immediate thoughts of WrestleMania?
Didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was all right.
For a man that is as verbose as you, that is not what I expected you to say.
Well, you said, what are my immediate thoughts? What are my thoughts immediately? You want me to get more in depth? I'll tell you what. I was not enamored by the main event. I thought it was all right as a main event. Cody Rhodes winning did not stimulate me. I wasn't like, wow, Cody Rhodes is the new world champion. He's the perfect, ideal wrestler to look like a world heavyweight champion. No. It was a little lackluster. Then you got Balding Cena come out of nowhere. Like, what the hell is that? You got Cat Burglar Undertaker comes out of nowhere, too. Like, what the hell is going on over here?
Yeah. Well, it was a little hard for you to be overstimulated by the match when you were completely in love with Pablo Escobar from yesterday.
Yeah, Escobar was your guy.
Escobar's awesome. He's I love that dude. And I like LA Knight. Yeah,
LA Knight. Yeah,
that was a good match. That was a pretty good match, actually.
It was a good match.
Well, that was one of those matches that you kind of expected to be good because you're talking about AJ and LA Knight, two guys that are definitely workers. I want LA Knight to get a title this year. You know what I'm saying? He should. Yeah. To be honest, he should have had a main event match if it wasn't for the fact that they screwed him over a couple of months ago with his momentum. He was going all the way up. He could have been main event, but you know
he just beat AJ Styles. He just beat AJ Styles at his first WrestleMania. So that's that's a pretty good accomplishment for
that's a good first start. But
yeah, it's a pretty good start.
Let's be honest, he's up there in age, so he doesn't have that many years.
That's true. That's
really fine.
Yeah, I would have thought it would have been a much more momentous end in conclusion to the show, if they did a super swerve, instead of having Damian Priest come out and take out the trying to go McIntyre as for his belt, wait till the end. Let Cody go through that whole journey. He gets the belt. Everybody's holding it on his shoulders. All of a sudden, he comes out of nowhere, beats the shit out of him, takes his belt.
Oh.
That would have been ideal.
That would have pissed off a lot of people, dude.
Yes.
So, all right. So Priest,
Yes. And that's what makes a great heel.
I see Priest as a big main eventer coming up. I think he can do it, and I think he can do it alone because I think his tag team partner was holding him back, honestly.
A pissed off wrestling fan base is not a terrible thing.
Exactly.
That's what makes a great heel. You need a great heel.
They're gonna build him. They're gonna build him and build him. And I would like to point out that a month ago I did state that match was gonna happen. They're gonna beat the shit out of each other, and he was gonna cash in and take that title. I did state that.
Here's something. Tell me, did something went wrong with Seth?
I think he possibly may have re-injured his leg.
He got the living crap beat out of him yesterday. Yeah,
He didn't look right when he came out as the Shield gimmick. When he came out again, he did not look right when he came out.
No.
The other thing is, he was supposed to look like he was beat up.
Do you mean right before he got pinned, like that last big, moves that they did? Do you think he got hurt there? Because it did. I wondered if he did as well.
Yeah, I think he may have re-injured something, and he's just gonna. I think, and also I don't think he was 100%.
No, he's never 100%. But to come out with the Shield, first of all, I think that was a really bad move with the Shield.
It was a stupid move, especially if Ambrose wasn't coming out.
Yeah, because you're expecting Ambrose at that moment, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that he's over in AEW, just your mindset. It's WrestleMania. They could have pulled a fast one and tried to like work an agreement or something. They've known to do things like that for moments like this, right? Same reason why I was shocked not to see Dustin.
Yeah, Gold Dust would have been really good.
Right? That would have been a nice little move, especially since I'm noticing AEW is they're putting Dustin out a little bit more now. Wonder why. It's obvious.
Well, if they weren't going to use Ambrose as a Shield gimmick, then they might as well have done a double swerve with have Seth Rollins double swerve and actually help Roman.
The only thing I don't understand about the last sequence is how they needed like 3 different dudes came out. Like we got a great pop from Cena, and then you get Seth, and you get Cena, then you get fucking Undertaker. One would have been just fine. Like one bad guy, one guy to finish that would have been cool.
No, but it worked. The progression was good. You had Jimmy, and then you had Jay. I think Jay, again, like I said, Jay was showboating, which doesn't work, right? He was supposed to just run in, and then you had Solo, and then after Solo, you had Cena, and then from Cena, you have Rock, and then you have Taker. But the Seth part of it just didn't work. One, because, let's face it, something happened to Seth because he showed up. You hear the music, you see him, he gets hit, and then that was it. That was the last we see him.
Well,
you think they're building a Seth fucking Cody, deal?
No.
I think the Seth Cody thing is over.
I got hurt helping you. You won your match. I lost my title. Yada yada yada.
No, that program is going over to CM Punk right now. It's going to be CM Punk versus Seth. I mean, against what's his name right now?
Cody.
Yeah,
McIntyre.
Yeah, it's gonna be those 3 guys battling out.
I'll be honest. I feel bad for Drew.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think Drew had a hell of a match, and the way he was just putting that on CM Punk's face, like this is now look what I got. That it was.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have done that shit.
He was putting something else on his face.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on his face.
He was eating on his face.
He did a little crawl to him like he was going to drink some out of a saucer. It was really, really sexy.
Yeah.
It was hot for sure.
Yeah.
I like the Damian cash-in. I really do. I really like the Damian cash-in. I just feel like it was like, okay, now we're going to have to do it kind of thing. I felt like that should have been left for tomorrow.
It felt too early.
Now, when I tell you this,
I'd rather the cash-in happen during Cody's match.
Yeah, so.
But my reaction is,
I'm gonna get out of here. I just want to say my piece. Papa, been awesome, brother. Thanks, man. Peace, everyone.
Yes, there is a God. I know, right? Cody and Punk over in WWE. But
and Stephanie returning?
Huh?
Stephanie returning?
Yeah, that was cool, but Papa loved it, obviously.
Oh, Pops was living in the moment, let me tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, how long has it been since Stephanie's been on camera?
Well, she was smart and she stayed away for a while.
She should have. Her name's on the line right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it hasn't been that long since she's been on.
She's been gone for a year.
But
that long?
Yeah.
I believe the match that blew the most out of all of WrestleMania was that stupid Philadelphia street fight match.
Oh, that was dumb.
That
That was so
It
dumb.
was garbage. It didn't need to be there. And
that match was not the type of match it should have been. Like,
no,
who was it that said it? It should have been in a street fight.
Yeah,
It should have gone outside.
To have it on
when Bubba Ray says get the tables, he does not say 1, 2, 3, get the tables. He said get the tables. That's how it works. He doesn't have to count with the crowd. 1, 2. No. Get the tables. And then he should have 3D'd somebody.
Yeah, no, see, if they would have had Bubba 3D somebody, that would have been amazing. That would have been cool. But
that was a match that should have been like Friday Night SmackDown match or something like that. You know
that's
what I mean?
Friday.
Or you know what? Bring out a Tommy Dreamer to interfere or something. Just to fuck around with the crowd.
It would have been cooler if you would have been just a whole bunch of ECW guys, right?
Yeah.
So you got Tommy Dreamer, you bring out RVD, you bring out Sam, and they'll take the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? They'll all take it. You want a little payday?
Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to make it though, because most of them are here for a con this weekend.
You want to get super controversial? Bring out the franchise.
That's not happening.
I know that's not happening, but if it did happen, it would have been great. Like people would have popped like hell.
Yeah, that definitely would.
In Philly, could you imagine a WrestleMania in Philly, and then all of a sudden a franchise showed up out of nowhere?
Yeah, that would be cool.
They could have put the 6 women match because Jade. I think Jade's the next star in WWE without a doubt, and she is the only one that's going to be able to beat Ripley for the belt.
She has the only chance, but that's going to be a while. I think they're building to a Jade Bianca match eventually.
Well, Jade's got to get a few more matches under her belt, man. Like she's still very like raw as far as a wrestler. She's very green.
She is, and you've seen. We were talking. Somebody was talking about the Shawn Michaels, chin music. Everybody's doing it, but everybody's doing it and kicking everybody in the chest.
Yeah,
you gotta hit them in the face,
dude. Man, that's old news. The super kick is old news, man, because the super kick has been used by so many people now. No one cares. They're like it's like the DDT now.
Well, right? The Young Bucks destroyed the super kick.
So. The super kick is nothing anymore. There's just certain moves now that it's like they're just there now.
Well, it's hard to you got to put a spin on a new move, and I mean that's all they do there. And it's just that I just thought it's dumb that every time they do a super kick, it hits them in the chest, not the damn face.
Yeah, well, that's because they have to slap. They got to slap the foot to make the sound.
I understand.
Some people don't know how to do it right.
Obviously,
you gotta be limber.
There's a lot of moves though that people did as finishers that did no damage or anything. They just didn't phase anybody.
Curb stomp. Who the hell? Like realistically, you stomp on somebody's head. You should stay down for a while.
It's like 80% of the top rope stuff. Yeah, 80% of the top rope stuff. When they went to go do it, they all like missed and landed on their feet, like did not hitting anything.
Like a Canadian destroyer, right? That's a move. When you see it, it looks awesome. But I don't think I see anybody get pinned off of that move.
So, you know what the move of both nights, the best move of both nights came out of that match that I thought was ridiculous, and that's that Philadelphia street fight, was the Russian leg sweep that the one chick did to the other through the table. That was the move of WrestleMania. That was
great. Yeah.
That was amazing. It It was great. It went and it played off and it went perfect, honestly. And it was just a simple Russian leg sweep. It was so great.
You know, they need to bring back some good phrases. They're losing all the phrases like "Good night, Irene." You hit him in the chops. Like they're not saying these things anymore.
Well, here's something else that I caught that was really odd to me. It was like they were picking and choosing what curse words they're allowed to use or not.
I noticed that too.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, if
You're on a paid streaming service,
curse words, it's okay. But The Rock's out, we gotta blank them all.
At one point, one of the announcers said he kicked his ass. I was like, what? Did he say that?
Yep.
To me, the audio was off. Like you couldn't hear the themes music. You couldn't hear a lot of the audience, and a lot of times when the announcers were speaking, they were drowned out.
Well, isn't the movie that Rock has coming up Moana 2?
He's doing Moana 2, but he's also doing a
live action.
So anyway, he has that coming out, so he can't be caught cursing like that, and you got a kids movie coming out. It's not gonna work.
He could do that. People do that. People used to do that stuff all the time. I don't think because he's clearly making this. He's clearly utilizing this character as a villain. So as a villain, he's allowed to be this way. But when he's in public, he's back to being Dwayne. So he's literally becoming a character at this point.
Well, that's always been the case.
I think, Papa, I think you got yourself a little some spam.
Spam?
Spam?
Yeah, it looks like there's some spam in the chat.
Heck yeah, awesome night and ending.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Overall, satisfied. I enjoyed.
That's no. That's DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Wise ass? Is that who you're calling spam?
Yeah, that's DJ.
I don't know who that is. I didn't call him spam.
Well, I'm looking at the link. That's why there's a link there.
Oh, I didn't see any link.
I don't see any link.
Really? I see a link.
Oh.
It's not. It's yeah. So there was a link there. If you look at it, it's there. Looks like spam.
From Wise ass?
Yeah, who cares?
Who's it from?
I don't know. I don't see anything.
Christina Payne?
Is Christina spamming everybody?
You guys wise ass. That's not a spam. She's saying hi to him.
Oh, because I'm looking at this thing. It starts with like a YT3.GG.
Oh, that's probably the emote thing. It's just it's just not loading your emotes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the phone. It looks like spam from this phone.
Oh, that's why. It's because you're on your phone. That's why. Okay.
My bad.
Oh,
Papa doesn't get spammed. Papa's the one that spams people.
Yes. We got you, DJ.
So, what's your thoughts on Cody Rhodes coming out with his logo mask, looking like Skeletor?
I thought it was awesome.
I don't know. I just think Cody Rhodes dresses like an ass clown. I don't like the whole outfit. I don't like the whole gimmick. It was nice to see Brandy though.
Yeah.
It's
better than Roman Reigns. Hey, I'm gonna load up my fist with the wrestling ring, and then I'm gonna jump and hit somebody with a punch that doesn't do anything any other time in the match, but it's gonna knock you out this time.
Oh, why? Because that's a lot better than punching people with brass knuckles left and right and having them get up after.
No, that's his shtick. That's his deal.
That is his shtick. And you know what? He has a tremendous monkey slash. Did you see how high he went on that move?
Yeah, he got super high.
Frog splash. Frog splash. My bad.
That was So we were talking about this in the chat, Izzy. It's hard. It sucks that you want to hate Logan Paul so bad, but you can't deny how he has gelled with the WWE. He is a born wrestler.
Oh, he's impressive.
Yeah.
He's more than impressive. He is good.
Yeah, and it sucks because you don't want to like him, but
that's part of what makes him good too.
Yeah.
He understands the psychology of it. that's the part that's hard. Like, you could be a really good athlete, but when you know how to do the psychology side of it, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him like a world title one day. That's how good he is.
I think we figured it out well during we were watching this thing. He's Johnny from the Karate Kid. He's that asshole kid that you want to see his ass.
They wanted to give him a title so that they could promote him and get some extra bucks and stuff, and from his viewership. So they gave him the U.S. title.
No mercy,
and he's doing it.
They're going to have him hold that title for a minute.
He's going to hold it to SummerSlam, and the word has is that LA Knight's going to probably take it from him.
I can see that.
Should have happened now.
I thought for sure they were going to give Randy Orton the sweep. I thought for sure
if they were going to push LA Knight, they should have had him be the one that takes Gunther's belt, not freaking Sami Zayn.
See, that match was good, but that was the wrong person winning the belt.
It should have been LA Knight. What was the point of giving it to Sami Zayn?
It should have been LA Knight or Gable.
I think Sami Zayn is caught.
Yeah, okay, I can see Chad Gable. All right, I'll give you that.
Except
why Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn has caught a different type of the crowd that LA Knight has, and Sami Zayn is.
Gunther had a freaking record.
Motivation.
He had a record going.
Sami Zayn is that his momentum came from last year against the Bloodline. This is almost as if he's gained a consolation prize for all his work from last year. It's like, no, we don't. That's not how you should do things.
Do you know what? Give him a consolation prize when he gets a brush and combs his hair and gets a man
like a hobo?
trims his beard and looks like a human being instead of
like a hobo.
What kind of sacrilegious bullshit is that?
You should have heard the entire time we were watching. It was amazing.
He looks like a hobo. I'm with CJ. He does look like a hobo.
He looks like a dad.
He does. That's the first thing I said. He looks like a homeless guy.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
dude,
he does.
Dude, when I look at a wrestler and I look like I'm better shape than them, that's something wrong.
It's the sweatpants. He looks kind of sloppy. I don't know what it is. It's like he's missing something. But I'll give him credit for getting in shape a bit because he looks pretty good yesterday.
See where they go with it. We'll see where they go with it. I think Sami Zayn is going to go somewhere, but I could be wrong.
I'm just saying, they built up the Gunther record all to have Sami Zayn take it? Come on.
You heard how many days Gunther had the belt for? Did you see that? That statistic?
He had like a record.
No. You want to know? You know how many days it's been?
How many?
666 days.
There you go.
Of course, they have the German hold the belt for 666 days. Wow.
Tell me that's not messed up.
That is messed up. That's way messed up.
It actually makes it feel a little bit better that that's a perfect amount of time for him to have it, but it should have been another guy that taken it off his hands.
But and they could be setting Gunther up for another run.
No, I think they are setting him up for world title. But
I strongly believe it should have been LA Knight.
But Sammy wasn't the guy. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree, but I don't hate how it went.
I don't think you know what. If you were gonna have Sammy win it, I would have had Kevin win it and have like a nice little moment there. But they didn't do that. Especially when they did that thing with the curtain call thing.
Yeah, it was very anticlimactic. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't think Sami Zayn should have even had a match in WrestleMania.
No, wow. the six clowns. Of course, I said the move of the night came from that match, but they didn't need to have a match in WrestleMania.
Not disagreeing with that either. There's plenty of great wrestlers that didn't get a chance to shine. Where was Nakamura?
Nakamura hasn't been doing much lately. But lose.
I would have liked to see Nakamura have a nice match.
Nakamura, I'll be honest, I think his time there is going to be short-lived.
I honestly think The Rock's time everybody thinks that Rock's going to take over the Bloodline. I don't think so. Because you got Fatu just signed. And I think that not as much as Uso, but freaking Solo Sikoa is going to be very upset about him not winning.
I honestly think Rock is going to take over the Bloodline, but he's going to go away and let them do their thing.
He's going to be like a puppet master.
He's going to just take over and then go away.
Yep, he'll probably be doing things on the side, and whenever he has like a free moment, he'll show up. You know what I mean?
And who's going to take over? I would say the new guy or Solo. Solo is. I like Solo Sikoa. I really do.
Yeah, but Solo Sikoa is an enforcer. He's not going to be no leader.
Could be. You don't know that.
You could have had a guy like Solo have a singles match. They'll try to elevate him instead of some of these other matches that they had. I think
we had a lack. I'll be honest. I think we had a lack of one-on-one matches. It was a lot. Yep. You know what I mean? Like real, like grudge matches. The only grudge match was the AJ in LA.
You mean
how much of a grudge match was that? Was it really a grudge match?
You mean non-title?
Yeah.
Okay.
Grudge match. It's usually a grudge match.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jay was the other one. And that one was weak too.
You know what? Haven't you seen that enough? I think we've all seen Jimmy and Jay fight enough.
That was the first time they had a one-on-one.
No, it's not.
A one-on-one for Jimmy and Jay?
No. They've fought so many times.
No, they've never fought one-on-one.
Okay, they've never had
against each other, but not one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Like one-on-one. And they love doing that kind of stuff at WrestleMania, where they get the brother versus brother kind of match.
I don't know. It was anticlimactic for brother versus brother thing. It wasn't the kind of match I was expecting. So, and I feel, even though they haven't had a one-on-one, I feel like I've seen it a million times.
Okay, you know what was anticlimactic? The match in itself was good because obviously it's a ladder match, but the endings were weak.
Well, it was the little guy that ran up the freaking ladder in 2 seconds and took the belt. Like, what the hell was that?
That was very lame.
Yeah, like Austin, this guy getting the first belts didn't make. It was just.
The only thing that kind of saved it was
disappeared from there.
The only thing that kind of saved it was the novelty of R-Truth getting it at the end.
So the reason they did that match was because, let's be real, there's not a tag team on the level that is the Judgment Day, but the reason Judgment Day was there was because of Priest, and they're going to try and push him, hence why they had him win.
That makes sense.
Well, here's how
they had the belts away from him.
That's where opportunities lost. They could have brought the Motor City Machine Guns in, and they would have freaking stole the show.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one. I think the Motor City Machine Guns would have been a good opportunity. Give them because they were free agents
in a ladder match.
Like they're gonna go to AEW now.
Holy shit! Shelby would have freaking killed it in a freaking in the ladder match over there.
Just imagine the pop that would have happened. You know what I mean? If I was Triple H and I want to say, hey, this is not the same WWE you know. I would have gotten the Motor City Machine Guns.
And it would have cost them a lot of money to get.
Okay, you also got to think that I believe with the change, because WrestleMania was set. We're going to see it on Wednesday. That whole thing comes out, but I believe that Roman and Rock were supposed to fight in WrestleMania.
They were never going to. They weren't. It was supposed to be. This was an audible.
Yes, this was an audible, and I think it changed a lot of things around, and they weren't really planned 100%.
CM Punk was supposed to be part of the main event. He got hurt. That changed plans. It wasn't supposed to be what's his name? Seth Rollins versus
Drew
McIntyre. It was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
So that changed too. So yeah, I know they're going to AEW, but this would have been a really good opportunity for them in WWE.
Even if they brought him up for one night without winning, it would have been an exciting freaking night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tomorrow night will be. Papa just said it. tomorrow night will be loaded. So
I wouldn't hold my breath though. I've been disappointed nights after WrestleMania plenty of times.
No.
Recently, yes.
Really?
Recently, yes.
Oh yeah, it used to be a big deal to watch the Raw after WrestleMania.
It used to be massive.
I believe that the match between Priest and McIntyre is not going to be waiting for the next pay-per-view. It's going to be tomorrow night.
Yeah, but he's not guaranteed a title match yet. That's an old thing. That's not something they do anymore. The real question,
they need to take a lesson.
I think Drew should have been the title. He should have the title.
They right now they had something going with the Bloodline, which they could still continue using the same kind of recipes for all their other storylines and keep building. You don't need to pay off immediately. You need to build up a payoff for all these matches.
Well, the Bloodline stick was stupid.
Well, listen, stupid or not, it lasted for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 solid years, and people were into it. It was the biggest gimmick since the NWO, in my opinion. As far as that,
because it was layered. It didn't just stay.
No.
At one
so you're
spot.
telling me the Bloodline was bigger than DX?
Well, yeah, because NWO was bigger than DX.
No, you are crazy. You are crazy.
Are you out of your mind? NWO was way bigger than DX.
Yeah, and
there's still kids running around to this day, doing the motion and going, "Suck it."
DX was a ripoff of
DX wasn't a ripoff of NWO.
It was
better.
It was
better.
Okay, so looking back now, I remember DX has different stages, right? So you had the first original stage of DX, which was Shawn Michaels, Triple H,
China,
Rude, right? That version. So that version was cool, but it never maximized.
It wasn't better than the Outsiders and Hogan.
Yeah, it didn't maximize. It went to a certain spot and just stopped,
so
right?
Here's the downside of what you're talking about. The NWO you think was successful, it actually killed the WCW.
DX was not before NWO. DX, the Click was before both.
Correct.
But
right, so the Click was
NWO killed WCW
afterwards.
Yeah, way afterwards.
It was still in existence, and
NWO was what put WCW on the map.
No, what killed WCW?
Yes, it did.
WCW was already on the map.
No, guys, what killed WCW was not the NWO. What killed the WCW was TBS
and AOL.
And AOL.
No,
that's what killed it.
He's right.
No,
that's what killed it.
No,
because Eric Bischoff wanted to do things, and when they were hot, they were told not to. So in other words, they went from being a PG-14 type of show, and they were then told, you got to tone it down. And then they brought Russo in, and Russo destroyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Destroyed it.
So Hogan had nothing to do with that.
Hogan had everything to do with all the politicking of it all. But
that might be true. Hogan was a moneymaker for WCW.
The whole thing.
He wasn't.
The whole thing was Hogan, Bret Hart, all those guys politicking against each other.
Honestly,
and then you have executives wanting
the clowns. If you take the clowns that came over from WWF to WCW, take them out of the equation, WCW would not have failed.
What are you talking about? The only homegrown talent that WCW had that was worth keeping was freaking the Giant, maybe, and Goldberg. And Goldberg wouldn't have been. And you want to talk about Hogan? You want to talk about Hogan? If it wasn't for Hogan, Goldberg wouldn't have got his chance.
So Jeff Jarrett was a clown.
Jeff Jarrett was terrible.
Jeff Jarrett was ping ponging between WWE and WCW.
Yeah, I'm with who that? Booker T, definitely.
Booker
T, yeah. I'll give him Booker T, yeah.
Okay, so you're wrong already. I came up with 2 names, and one of them proved you wrong.
What name was proving me wrong?
Booker T. He was homegrown. He didn't come from WWF.
I said I omitted him. He was good. Booker T, yeah, I'll give you
All right.
Booker T.
Okay.
Hey,
Ric Flair? You think Ric
I'm
Flair?
gonna take. Hey guys, I'm gonna take off though. I'm really not feeling well still, so I'm gonna see you guys later.
All right,
All right, Katie.
Bye guys.
Hey, Katie, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wait, you telling me Ric Flair and the Andersons were gonna freaking keep WCW going? Come on, man. The fuck?
Wasn't gonna happen.
They needed that Northern infusion. You think when Razor Ramon went to WCW and said, "You know who I am and why I'm here," or whatever he freaking said, do you think that didn't have the biggest freaking pop ever down there?
The Outsiders, yes. Not
It was
Hogan.
massive, massive. You know, it's nobody's fault other than Eric Bischoff and the powers above that fucked up Bret Hart coming down there, because he could have been a massive pickup. They didn't do anything with him.
What happened to Bret Hart was coming in.
This is a Hogan-friendly chat. Sorry,
Okay.
I got to spit facts. You're talking about Hogan at the end of his career when he was just a sludge. And honestly,
dude, Hogan was bringing in more money during his middle-age crisis than like some guys at the peak of their career. He was making
only
money
because
for
of
the
his
company.
name.
It doesn't matter whether it's name or not. You said it, whether the company was successful or not. He was part of the success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Let's
why
be
the
honest,
company
Hogan-
folded while with him. as the
Hogan was
employee.
this. To tell you the truth, Hogan was necessary for their success. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hogan. Here's what I'm gonna say.
He made them legitimate.
No, yeah, I think what made Hogan successful for WCW was because Hogan's name. It was his namesake. Because if it was like if Stone Cold left WWE to go to a different company. You know what I'm saying? I think what people don't understand from that time period, because I grew up in that time period, right? Everybody looked at Hogan as he is WWF. Not that Hogan is this guy that jumps ships. Hogan is WWF at that time. Like everything that WWF stood for was Hogan. So to get him to WCW made people go see WCW. So he brought in a crowd. Now, the wrestlers that were there helped it maintain its momentum. But what ended up happening when Hogan started getting
Macho
stale?
Man came in.
When Hogan got stale, Macho Man came in. When Macho Man became stale, that's when they started doing the whole thing with Nash and Razor. Right? So for everything we talk about WCW, what happened with WCW was we bring in a star from the North over here to bring some kind of legitimacy to this company. If that doesn't work, we bring in another one. And then we bring in another one, which is the same problem that AEW is having right now.
And don't forget the connections Hogan had with Japan.
Yeah.
He's a big reason why they had a lot of those connections with Japan. And
international draw. Not just Japan.
Like they went from a regional little southern company to becoming like international.
We all saw Bash at the Beach. That was the end of that was the start of the end, right?
No, Bash at the Beach was the start of the run.
The formation of the NWO.
No, this is well into NWO being formed and everything. Hogan did not want to lose the belt.
Oh, with Jarrett, you're talking about where he laid down for him.
Yeah.
Hogan did not want to lose the belt. And the contract they gave him, because they're stupid.
That was Russo
politics. He had final rights in the outcome of his matches.
There's so much in that story that everybody.
That was Russo politics.
That's Russo going into business.
Hey, I'm not saying that Russo wasn't a part of it, because he was.
Russo was going into business for himself at that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. He decided, I'm going to change the story as we go. Hogan was not involved in that process.
No, the crowd was not going there to see Jarrett.
Involved in that decision.
The crowd was not going there to see Jarrett beat Hogan for the belt. They were not seeing that. They didn't want to see that. And Hogan was smart enough to know that. The only good thing that came out of that match was Booker T finally got his time to shine because of that whole incident. Because due to that whole match and the whole incident, Booker T finally got his first championship.
Well, what they were wanted to happen, originally was going to happen, was that Hogan loses to Jarrett, and Jarrett loses the very next night to Booker T.
No, they're saying that in retrospective. I don't believe that was the case. I don't believe that's it. They were going to bury everybody and keep Jarrett as a champion the way they were doing the Chosen One bullshit that they were doing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I believe that was going to be the case. They were going to keep going with the Chosen One.
I still believe Hogan was a downfall because he's a pompous ass, and he still is to this day.
No, he is a pompous ass.
Listen, whether you hate him or love him, I'm not telling you how I feel about him or not. I'm just telling you what a contributor he was to that organization. He was a bigger asset than a detriment.
So Hogan was one of the very few guys in this business that was bigger than the business at its time, right? So at that time, specifically and during that era, no one was bigger than Hogan.
Okay.
Not Flair.
So
not Rhodes,
you say he was bigger than the business
at that time? Yes,
absolutely.
No, he wasn't.
At that time.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. You know why he wasn't?
But let me finish.
Because he didn't finish his career in WWF.
No, let me
He went to
finish.
WCW.
No, what happened in WWF?
He actually did finish in WWF.
Obviously.
But here's what happened. Here's what happened in WWF. He started politicking because they were moving away. They really were. They were trying to move away from him.
Yeah.
Right? WrestleMania 9, all that stuff was their sign of saying, okay, we're moving away from Hogan. But Hogan was still had this power because he was at that time he was bigger than the business. The WWE didn't have the power to say we could go without Hogan right now. At that time, they didn't. They really didn't. It was afterwards when WCW taken that WWF had to figure out what to do because they ended up making Bret Hart the face, and I'm sorry, it wasn't working. At that time, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't until WrestleMania 10.
You don't even have to go that far. You don't even have to go that far. Listen, they handed off the power. They passed off the mantle to Ultimate Warrior,
and that didn't work.
That was
and Ultimate Warrior should have taken that ball and ran with it. And Hogan was still way bigger than Ultimate Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
He was overshadowing the world heavyweight champion.
Okay, I understand what sense you're saying Hogan was bigger than business, but in the sense that I'm saying is he wasn't, because he didn't. The only reason he was able to demand his contract because a company that was on its last leg had to sign him and give him more money than what they could have or what they should have. And
they had a brink truck ready for him.
And
wait,
Vince
hold on.
didn't.
How was WCW on their last leg if they lasted a lot more and they beat the shit out of WWF in the ratings war while he was there?
And
how were they on their last leg?
But here's the other thing. At that time, WCW at that time they weren't really WCW just yet. Right? Because at that time is when Turner purchased the wrestling company. Right?
Exactly.
Beforehand, they were a wrestling show. They were part of Crockett Promotions, right? And WCW was actually the name of the show. Wasn't the name of the promotion. It was
actually NWA Wrestling.
Yeah, it was part of NWA, but it wasn't NWA. It was actually Crockett Promotions. So what ended up happening is that Turner comes in. Turner says, okay, we need to change things up so we can make this business worth something. And then he hires Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff pretty much said, you know what we need? We need a Hogan. And then he says, go get Hogan. So they worked some things out to get Hogan. And Hogan, at first Hogan wasn't going to do it because Hogan was a WWF guy. But when they said, hey, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you this.
We're going to give you your own show. They gave him a freaking TV show. Thunder in Paradise.
He couldn't pass it up. So he couldn't pass it up. And then Hogan did everything. And then Macho Man soon followed because WWF didn't want to do anything with Macho Man. They just wanted him to be in commentary.
Yeah, they had him sitting on a wrestling chair.
Well,
so
Hey,
They were taking all these guys who weren't past their prime. They were over. They were going into their 40s, but they were still good workers. You know what I mean?
Just remember, boys. By the way, hello everyone.
Macho had a lot left in the motor when he came over to WCW. He had some of the best matches against Diamond Dallas Page when he was in WCW, and with Ric Flair.
Yeah,
he had a lot left in the motor.
Izzy, you were talking about, like, you guys were saying, like, Hogan saved WCW and that Bret Hart wasn't working. The first time WCW passed WWF on the ratings is when Hogan went heel and joined the Outsiders to become the NWO. Up to that point, it wasn't working. Nothing was working. That's why Hogan went to Bischoff and said, like, how about I be the third mysterious guy? That was the whole thing. There was a pop for less than a month. But yeah, it was only with the formation of the NWO at that point did WCW take over the ratings and then own it for what was like a 56 or 58 week reign.
83
and
weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, like, at that point, the Fed started to imitate a little bit. And that's when HBK got hurt when they started Degeneration X. And then The Rock left the group that he was with and went solo. Austin was still climbing. Triple H started becoming a main eventer. It was all those things that slowly turned it over.
For a while.
But WCW was cancerous in the end. It was like when Russo took over, it was basically, okay, who hasn't had the strap? All right, now we're going to put it on DDP. All right, now next week we're going to take it off. All right, back on Hogan. All right, who's up next? Oh, Booker T hasn't had it. All right, put it on Booker.
Nobody's denying that Russo was the end of the company.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris, to tell you
the only thing that was successful, the only thing that was successful was Goldberg, and in the end, Goldberg was ending careers because he was too stiff.
Well, Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page was very successful. The Giant, as long as they had him there, was a good name that they had in there.
Goldberg was a gimmick.
Yeah, but when right after the NWO got up and running, like after Buff joined and everything, Big Show jumped ship. He was back in the Fed.
Do you forget how great the cruiserweight division that WCW had?
Absolutely, that was by far the best thing that WCW ever grew from within was the cruiserweight. Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero.
It's all ECW.
How about? I mean, let's not mention the name, but the child killer, like Chris Benoit.
Yeah, same thing.
They had him. So
Canada disowned Benoit.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you.
I understand
they got Hogan because they believed Hogan to put butts in seats and build ratings. And when it happened, when it first happened, it happened, but it was temporary.
And
So
everybody wanted to see Ric Flair versus
Hogan.
It was temporary.
Part of the problem was Hogan.
Part of the problem was that
it was temporary because they blew their load putting Ric Flair with Hogan right off the bat. It was just a failed script recycling from when Lex Luger jumped ship. It was just the same recycling of the script, except they threw Hogan in the ring with Ric Flair. That burned out quick, and it was Hall and Nash that saved WCW, and then Hogan turned in heel.
But what was killing WCW before NWO was the fact that they were still doing the same cheesy storylines from the 80s that WWE were doing.
Yeah,
And
the
they were doing
Dungeons
it
of
worse.
Doom and all that bullshit.
It was worse.
Like
It was the same dumb stories.
If you look at the facts, WCW never traveled. They never traveled. They never came to Canada. They never crossed the ocean. They hung out basically in the same 3 or 4 regions in the southern United States. They rarely came to New York City, whereas the WWF, regardless, was touring the globe.
I can tell you right now, Chris, they didn't come to New York City.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't come to New York City. The Fed went to New York City.
Yeah, they couldn't come to New York City because WWE had a stranglehold. A lot of people didn't know that.
I think one time, National Coliseum, right? Is he right? One time they had a National Coliseum. That was it.
I do have to get out of here. I will see y'all later.
Yeah, Nassau Coliseum was the only real place that they were able to make matches, and even that was challenging for them. So
Viking doesn't like Hogan accolades. Listen, I'm not fanboy for Hogan. I'm really not. But at the same time, I'm not gonna beat the shit out of him.
You can't deny the truth.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So I will agree with Izzy on this. Like, there's only been a handful of times where someone is larger than their Sports Illustrated, for God's sakes. Like, Hogan was larger than life. Like, you remember, they put the strap around him when he was 27, 28 years old, took it from the Iron Sheik. He already looked like he was 80 at that point, let's be honest. But yeah, Izzy is right. Hogan was larger than life. But when he dropped the title in Toronto for WrestleMania against Ultimate Warrior, they didn't know what to do with Ultimate Warrior because it was all about the chase. And at that point, Hogan was figuring he was a movie star, and he was part-time at best. So that's when Yokozuna was climbing the ranks. Bret Hart, they decided to give Bret Hart a chance, and they screwed Bret then by putting the strap back around Hogan, and that was an epic failure too at Caesar's Palace.
That was major,
and that was the end of Hogan.
As far as that was concerned. But as far as Ultimate Warrior was given the keys to the kingdom, and he dropped the ball.
Epic failure. Epic failure.
You know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I think what happened to Warrior, yes, a little bit of his ego got in the way, but when he got the strap that first year, they were doing stuff with him. I just think
some of his best was Rick Rude.
Nobody wanted to work with him. Not even the jobbers wanted to work with him.
Only Rick Rude, because Rick Rude was stiff as hell. He would beat the shit out of Warrior.
Nobody wanted to work with him. Mm-hmm. Like, even Savage and Perfect didn't want to work with him. And they were great in the ring.
Yeah.
Andre didn't want to work with him.
Andre hated his guts.
That's pretty bad because Andre called everyone boss. That's bad if Hogan doesn't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Andre.
Andre hated his guts because they did have matches together, and whenever they would have matches together, because let's be honest, Warrior, I was a huge Warrior fan growing up. I loved him. I was so happy when he won at first, right? But when they would have matches with him and Andre, he was so hyped up on steroids and stuff like that that he would run the ropes, and Andre
also
would tell him, don't run the ropes on me like that. So he wouldn't listen.
Baby oil at the time too. Like,
he wouldn't listen, so he would just put his fists out, and
his personal life was in shambles. Yep. And just remember, like, guys, he didn't want to be a wrestler. He only did it for the paycheck. He was a bodybuilder by trade.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. In the end, he couldn't separate. He couldn't separate the character from Jim.
Yeah.
That's why he never could take it to the next level. He succeeded, but he never took it to Hogan levels. He could have.
He had that, but the thing is, his character was way.
He was Goldberg before Goldberg.
Yeah, he was. But
he was more energetic than Goldberg. He was exciting to look at.
Here's the thing: he was.
Yeah, but he was the same way. 30-second match.
No, but here's the problem. Here's one of the problems with Warrior. Yes, I agree. He was a 30-second match guy. But the other problem with him was that, let's be honest, he wasn't real. And,
he didn't want it.
His character was so off the wall, based off of this supernatural kind of being, right? That it wasn't real. So when he was out of character, it wasn't Warrior anymore, right? So you know, at that time, you had to play the character 24/7. Imagine trying to play Warrior 24/7. Just imagine what the toll it must have taken on him.
Oh, they all had to manage kayfabe, though, man.
He also didn't have the respect for the profession, though. Like, Goldberg at least had some respect for the profession. Ultimate Warrior, I don't think really respected the profession. He respected the paycheck.
Yeah, I agree.
In the end, he couldn't even handle that.
He had to take things hostage, too. That whole SummerSlam story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What he did in SummerSlam was terrible. You know what I mean?
That's just it. You know, like a lot of these guys get the strap and it goes to their head. They have a hard time separating reality from their own character. Shawn Michaels was a problem. Bret Hart didn't want to drop the fucking title. Pardon me, didn't want to drop the title in Montreal. And Warrior again. Like, a lot of these guys got major ego issues, and You know, like Undertaker wasn't the locker room general telling him, "Hey, you got to lie down for this guy or whatever here and there to make things work." And again, and in the end, Warrior thought he was bigger than Vince.
All I'm going to say is this: if it wasn't for Undertaker's loyalty, Vince McMahon and WWF or WWE would not be what it is today.
Agreed.
He's the only one consistent during that era that WWE had as a pillar, as an attraction that was completely loyal, that Vince had no fear of losing. He was the only one. Shawn would have been like this. If he didn't get hurt, he would have been part of the NWO.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Right, because he would have followed Kevin Nash.
100%.
He would have. Just remember though, CJ. CJ, remember Bret Hart didn't want to leave. Remember, Bret Hart got an extravagant offer from Bischoff and turned it down for less money to stay with Vince. And then after a few months, Vince said, "You know what? I can't afford to pay you. You might as well go sign with WCW." Bret didn't want to go, but Bret's undoing was not wanting to drop the damn title.
Okay, but here's the other thing. This is where Bret is not really being honest with himself. And yes, I agree. Bret left because of the money, because McMahon couldn't pay him anymore, right? And the thing that pissed him off was the fact that McMahon was paying up for other things with that money, right? So he was getting Tyson. He was doing all that stuff. So Bret knew he was going out for Tyson, right? It's like, why he's paying Tyson? Tyson's not for one night. He can't. In other words, there was a little bit of an ego challenge. The problem I had with Bret, I was with Bret pretty much most of the time. But what happened in Montreal was Bret. I agree in this case, Bret really did screw himself there because he, like you said, he didn't want to drop the title.
You got to drop the title.
You got to drop. I wouldn't agree. Bret screwed Bret. I think there wasn't proper communication. It was just, "Hey man, we want you to drop the title," and he said no. There should have been. It should have been Undertaker brought in. It should have been Pat Patterson, Jalen Briscoe. A lot of them were brought in to sit down and talk some sense into Bret, saying, "Hey, we'll have you drop the title or whatever, but we'll have you drop the but you can't do a pay-per-view and turn around and drop it on Raw." Like I get where Vince was coming from. I just feel there wasn't enough proper communication.
You're gonna walk away with my belt? You can't. He was gonna do a Ric Flair.
The thing is, Alundra Blaze ruined everything by showing up on WCW with the women's title and tossing it into the garbage can. She ruined everything by doing that.
She was right. That title was garbage. The way they
you know what? She did that symbolically. It's like because Vince treated her like garbage because she was the champion for all that time in WWE, and they did nothing with her. They did nothing with her. They didn't even care enough to extend her contract.
I don't know how anybody
they treated her.
I don't know how anybody could look at Hogan's career and just not see anything but excellence. Like even at the end against Jeff Jarrett, was he not a draw? Was he not a main headliner?
You can put Hogan in the ring right now and it'll be a draw.
I can't wait till the next stream with Comic Viking. We'll have a good long conversation about Hogan.
I know what Viking's
big. Hogan is still bigger than the damn sport. Hogan is still bigger than the sport. Hogan walks down the street, he's swarmed. It doesn't matter. Hogan is arguably, again, one of those most famous people on the face of the earth. Drop him in Japan, drop him in Australia, drop him in Russia, drop him anywhere in Euro, drop him anywhere in South Africa. Same thing with South America. Everyone knows Hulk Hogan. He's bigger than the sport.
Yeah,
so, yeah, big is right.
I wouldn't say that anymore. I don't agree with that thing. I think Hogan today is not as bigger than the sport because the sport learned how to live without Hogan.
But his name is still there, though.
No, I agree. Hogan,
he's still very recognizable.
There's a handful of guys. There are a handful of guys that could live their life without the sport, and they'd still be known for the sport. Hogan, Rock, Austin, to a certain extent, I'll even say Flair. But and that's about it. Cena, is the other one. And that's it. No one else, right? But
maybe
today they could live without them.
Yeah,
So they
Taker
didn't
as
worry
well.
about-
If you break down Hogan's career, okay, he put WWF on the map.
He made wrestling cool.
And then he's such a bad. I mean, I know the Outsiders were a big deal. I love Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, top 3. Okay, all 3 are my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But without Hogan turning with them, you don't have what they had, dude. It
No,
would not have happened.
WCW fails if Hogan doesn't turn heel.
Oh yeah.
So what
Him
the fuck?
turning
I already know what we're talking
made
about.
it serious. Him turning made it like serious, right at that point.
Look,
He
when
turns
Hogan
heel
turned
after
heel,
being the
that was 6
And
o'clock news when Hogan turned heel.
And then you get another 2 or 3 year career on a different program, dominating the one you just put on them. It's insane what Hogan did. Nobody's ever
Dude,
going
you
to
got another
copy
6,
that.
7 years of being a heel.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go. I just wanted to get my little 2 cents in.
Love you, big.
Hogan was written off at that time. Everybody thought he was done.
They thought he was done, and Hogan thought he was done.
Well, and here's the thing: he came back and then headlined WrestleMania in Toronto against The Rock, where I can tell you guys when Rock and Hogan were turning face to face, listening to the crowd, there was no one saying Rocky. They were pumping Rocky in over the speakers because everyone was cheering Hogan because Hogan has such a close relationship with the city of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone was cheering for the heel and didn't care.
And he was doing some heelish stuff too, like the stuff
He's
he was
Hogan.
doing.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
He's Hogan. No matter he couldn't. For some fans, Hogan can never do anything wrong. He's Hogan. He's Hulk Hogan. He eats his vitamins. He says his prayers. He does his exercise.
Even when he was heel, he was still loved in
Papa
certain
Willie,
areas.
that's true. So Sting was going to be the third man if Hogan wasn't going to be the third man, and that would not have worked. Wouldn't have worked.
No, because Sting worked out to be a brilliant face against the NWO.
And
No, it had to be another WWF guy. It had to be.
So if it wasn't going to be Hogan, the only logical person would have probably been Savage.
Yeah, maybe Savage.
Right? That's it.
Because Savage turned heel like less than a month after Hogan did anyway.
But the problem
Shawn
with Savage
Michaels,
is that Savage
maybe
always
Shawn
turns
Michaels.
heel.
If they were able to pull off bringing Shawn Michaels in, that would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have
For a
worked.
little bit.
So
Again,
that
his
was
personal life
definitely
was
not
in
the
shambles
right-
too.
He was not in good state of mind back then.
Could you imagine they brought Shawn Michaels in as that third person in
Well,
NWO?
wait.
It would have freaking blew the roof off.
Okay, but beyond.
But CJ, but for how long though?
Where was Shawn at that time?
Until Hogan joined.
He was
At that time, where was Shawn?
HBK was top billing in WCW or pardon me WWF.
WWE. But
Yeah,
he was
top,
babyface Shawn.
It was
wasn't
still
he?
the Fed then.
He was babyface Shawn.
He was also pretty toxic though at that time.
You know who else was? There was I remember back then too. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a time that Taker was missing in action for a while. That's why we ended up getting the badass version of Undertaker.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, he had his knees repaired.
Yeah, but during that time there was a lot of rumors like, where is he going? Where is he going? You know, because now we know about contract negotiations and things like that because, you know, the internet says all that stuff. But that's the thing. The dirt sheets back then had no idea about a lot of this stuff, which is what made the Hogan thing such a big deal, because the Hogan thing was such a big deal because he was the baby face. First of all, he was the biggest baby face, and second of all, he was the face of WWE that came to WCW. It didn't work because that character was no longer popular because the people that loved that character were the kids, and they were grown up and they didn't care. Not to mention that era, the 90s, the early 90s, everything was becoming the alternative, right? So the atmosphere was anti-authority, anti the good guy. We like the bad guys. You know, that's why we get, you know, Image, Wolverine, Punisher.
The whole
that kind of
reality
stuff.
thing was coming into like reality TV thing was happening.
All that stuff changed the way they had to look at it. So everything that Hogan was doing up to NWO was still hokey, carny, good guy, bad guy type of environment. So when Bischoff came up with the idea, he got Hall and Nash. First of all, when you got and then do it in a way that these are the same guys from WWE. And for those of us that kind of knew the dirt sheets a little bit, I knew they were going to WCW, but I didn't know they were going in as WWE guys, which made it even more interesting. And then the fact that you get Hogan, then Hogan does a turn, then you have, oh, wait, this is interesting. Hogan's a bad guy? People didn't believe it.
It was Hogan's idea.
Yeah. It was Bischoff's idea because he took it from New Japan.
Well, yeah, Bishop went to him, but he didn't think that Hogan was going to engage. I mean, Hogan's agent was like fighting it all the way to the end. He didn't want him to turn. Yeah. Hogan was the one that decided at the end, he's like, you know what? It's time to go and do this.
Yeah, because Hogan knew where the money was.
Yeah. Well, you know that he got a cut at every single event, every single pay-per-view, he got money off of everything. No, so you knew.
They all had deals like that.
This is true. And then his ex-wife cleaned his clock.
Not like Hogan's a deal. Hogan had serious money he was making off of the percentages.
And his ex-wife got every penny.
They were making money hand over fist because the way the contracts were being made. First of all, what kind of idiot creates contracts like these? I'm sorry, these contracts are crazy. Like, guaranteed money is one thing, but the fact that if someone comes into the company and if they make more than you, you get a bump.
It was the creative control was the crazy part of all those contracts. Well, because Nash had creative control, Hogan had creative control. That's way too much.
But to be honest with you, I think the creative control
Hogan was the only one that had the creative control. Nash didn't actually have creative control.
No. What they ended up having is, what's it called? Something Nations contract. I forgot what it was called. So they had a contract whenever someone came in, if that contract was higher than their contract,
they had to match their revenue.
They matched the contract. How ridiculous of a contract does that sound?
That's just cancerous.
Hogan got a guaranteed $25,000 per appearance, no matter what. It could have been an empty crowd, and he still got 25%. And then on top of that, based on how many people came into each live thing, he got a percentage off of that. As far as pay-per-views, he got a percentage off of how many views, how many people purchased the pay-per-view. And back then, people were buying a lot of WCW pay-per-views.
Yeah, but Hogan's contract was with Ted Turner, not with WCW.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. That's also the big difference, right? Whereas the wrestlers like Hart, when he jumped ship, was with WCW, not with Ted Turner directly.
But they were all
Hart had more of a cookie cutter contract. He basically made $3 million a year. He had I believe a $12 million contract with them, and he was making $3 million a year.
Yeah.
But WCW was innovative, though, going truly live Monday nights. That was incredible. And then reading off, what was going to happen on Raw.
Yeah, but it backfired.
It backfired on them once when they talked about Mankind getting a title.
Yeah.
Just watch the narrative, though. Izzy, watch the narrative, because the WWE would want you to think that, but only one time that's ever backfired. Listen to multiple podcasts about the Monday Night War with other players other than the narrative that the.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The Hogan haters are stifling people.
No, but in all seriousness, it was just one of those. In that time, if you lived through it, it was crazy because you literally were going back and forth. And WCW had a good model in place because they started at 8, where Raw started at 9.
Yep.
And you got that first hour, which was really just the first hour was the cruiserweight hour. I always call that the cruiserweight hour.
And it was the most exciting hour too.
Yeah, it was the wrestling hour, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
So action-packed wrestling kind of thing, and then you had like the stories started going right at 9 o'clock, right before 9 o'clock. So it grabbed you, so you wouldn't switch the channel, right?
You see, the thing that WWF was able to do well that WCW was not able to do well was close out the shows.
Yes.
They knew how to close out a show well and leave you at a cliffhanger. WCW kind of
WCW knew how to do cliffhangers.
Yeah, they did, but
what WCW didn't know how to do
more
was
lackluster.
pay-per-views. But
Oh,
WCW didn't know how to do pay-per-views.
Sorry about that, guys. Just dead spot while driving.
Yeah. WCW didn't know how to do pay-per-views. They knew how to do cliffhangers.
Yeah, that's true. The pay-per-views were very lackluster.
Yeah, the pay-per-views
Very
you had like one or two early matches that were good, but the main event always failed.
They just didn't have enough of the cruiserweight stuff at the pay-per-views. They kept the homegrown talent that they were trying to nurture and everything. They kept that for the TV Monday Nitro or Thunder once that got started. They just didn't have. They didn't have enough of the young players that they were bringing up. At least mid card.
Let them grow either.
You know that Guerrero and Mysterio were going to give you matches. Jericho and Malenko were going to give you good matches. Benoit was going to give you a good match.
Some of the tag teams?
Yeah, some of the tag teams were going to give you some good matches. And then it kind of like floundered after that.
When you get to the pay-per-views, when you got to the main event, it was like, you know what I mean? Because it always ended with like disqualification or a count out. And it was like literally all the time. They were just like, we're not going to give you a clean finish.
And they had such great gimmicks. I mean, you had Raven. Raven's flock was such a great gimmick.
What about me?
How great of a gimmick was that? Come on.
It was terrific.
Remember Van Dam?
Terrific.
Remember? Yeah, was this Van Dam? It wasn't. No, it wasn't. He used to play the guitar. It was a big dude.
Van Hammer?
Yeah, was it Van Hammer?
Yeah, Van Hammer.
Yeah, Van Hammer was cool. I thought he was a cool looking wrestler and stuff like that. And then they put him in the flock. Kidman was a good wrestler.
Yep. Saturn.
Saturn was good. A lot.
Yeah, you're right, because WWF failed Perry Saturn. Saturn was great in WCW.
Oh yeah,
Saturn they gave him Moppy.
Yeah,
and Jericho
that was a
punishment. Jericho in WCW, man.
Jericho did well anywhere he went.
When Jericho first came out as a babyface, it wasn't really that good. It was when he came up with the Jericho-holics and
when they gave him the mic, it changed everything.
Remember when he started crying and yelling when he would lose the matches?
He was
That's when he turned.
Yeah. When
they gave him the mic, it changed.
Yeah, when they told him
armbar.
the what is it? The Canadian Saskatchewan.
Armbar.
He's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. The mean streets of Winnipeg.
I mean,
I'll never forget that.
They took dull wrestlers like Malenko. Malenko was a dull wrestler, but they made him look interesting. The way they positioned him.
CJ, you're right. He's a wrestler's wrestler. Mm-hmm. Terrible on the mic. He had no charisma. He was Bret Hart without the draw.
Yeah, put him next to Jericho though.
What they did with Malenko that was really good. What they did with Malenko that helped him a lot was that they put him on the Horseman, and I'm not talking about that crappy Horseman with that this guy Mongo was in it, I guess, but there was a moment that they did the Horseman and they did him really good, where it was Flair and Arn, and it was Malenko, it was and Benoit. That was great, and even when they had Pillman, when Pillman was part of the Horseman, he wasn't like Horseman like. But man, when Pillman became when he became the loose cannon, dude, that is one guy that we lost him way too fast.
Yeah,
because he was a genius.
Either a genius or nuts.
Both.
Yeah,
it's fine line.
No, he was.
He had a storyline when it was dealing with that woman or whatever. But yeah, in the ring, he was incredible.
No,
all right, boys, I gotta bounce. Pop, thanks for having me on. Night 2 killed night 1. Not even close.
Usually night 1 kills night 2. This time it was the other way around.
Yeah, right from the get-go. The Money in the Bank was a great angle. Great angle. Mm-hmm. Anyways, boys, have a good evening. Take care.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce too. I didn't even realize the time. I'm supposed to have gone to bed by now.
Yeah, I think it's time to end this. And by the way, hashtag bring back Landstorm.
Yeah. If I could have anybody's attention, please. Okay.
He was so good. He was so
Take it easy, guys.
All right. Goodbye. You ending this or what? End it. End it. No, fuck you. You, not me. End it.
Hey, check this out.